everybody, it's Sharon here. Welcome back to my channel for those who are returning, and welcome to any new subscribers that may be visiting for the first time. So I have an exciting video to share with you today, or I'm hoping it will be. I haven't done it obviously, but I've got lots of things floating around in my head and lots of things I want to try. So before I do that, I did want to share with you my 52 tags handmade challenge. I have finished my first tag and I'm so excited. I really love it. And I did want to share with you, instead of keeping my tags on a ring, I'm not really sure whether I want to keep them at the end of the challenge or whether I will use them in journals perhaps next year. So I've decided to just keep them inside one of these little boxes that I keep in the shelving that hubby made for me. And I really love the way the tags have turned out. And on top here I have my first tag, and I will bring it closer to show you. I am in love. I had no idea what I wanted to do when I first came into my craft room, aside from using white. So white was the theme for the first week's tag, and I am running behind with this challenge, so I have some catching up to do, but I was really nervous to get started because I have said before, I'm not a sewer, so I'm completely out of my comfort zone, and all I knew was that I needed to use white. So I have used a flower here that I've crocheted, and that kind of led me towards doing the flowers. So I've just used some little daisy lace that I had here, and I've cut a couple of those off to use those. My crocheted flower, I hadn't actually sewn the threads in, so I ended up using those as the stem, and I had to cut it off to get it to fit the tag, and so I ended up using the leftover pieces to create the stems for the other two flowers. I absolutely love it. One thing I will say is that I was worried that it would be really super bulky, but it's actually quite flat, much flatter than I expected. And obviously I've used quite thin fabric, so thin in fact that when I was sewing it was a little bit challenging. This fabric here that I have underneath is sheer, and so it kept slipping while I was sewing it. I looked at it afterwards and I was like, lucky my word for this year is imperfection, because those stitches are not very straight, but I'm really excited about how it's turned out. I haven't punched holes in them either because, again, I'm not sure how I want to use them. So just wanted to share that with you. I did also consider whether or not to ink around it, and because I love the inking so much, I decided to go ahead and do that, and I'm really glad I did. So that is the back. I've just used a sewing cotton to do the stitches with. It kind of fit with the delicateness of the tag that I've created, so I went looking to see if I had white thread, and I couldn't find any white embroidery thread, so the cotton has worked fine, and I love it so much. Okay, so I wanted to share that with you all. Now, when I made those tags, I did a collage, a book page snippet roll, and I did that on camera. I ended up making two. I used 3 encyclopedia pages as a double page spread to make my book page snippet roll. I ended up making a second book page snippet roll before I cut my tags, and I'm really glad I did, because I used all but these two pieces to make the tags out of, and I considered using these in my crafting because I really want to play with some neutral backgrounds, but I decided I'd keep these with my tags just in case I need extras. So I did cut some extras, but I do have these as backup. So what I did off camera was I've actually created another book page snippet roll, and you can see here I have it. It's the same size, so 3 double page encyclopedia pages, and I used the same papers. So you may or may not recall that I was using some neutral papers from kits from JunkWithSteph, and I love the way they work together so much. So they could be a little bit of a favorite go-to for me, and one of the things I really love about them is their flexibility in use, and I'll talk more about that as I do this video, because I really want to get cutting and start creating some ephemera out of this. I have collaged the back with just some blank and slightly decorative, more muted tone papers, and again I discuss how I did that in the first video. I did the book page snippet roll using the neutral papers, so if you're interested in finding out more about that, feel free to go and check that video out. But I need to get my cutter. I've been trying to get to this video for a couple of days now. I've had all sorts of drama with trying to download my last video, so my dyed fabric shares. I ran out of memory, so it wouldn't let me save anything, and it was just being a real nuisance, and it's actually taken me a couple of days to get that sorted. So I'm excited to be able to start using this. Sorry, I'm just sitting myself down because I was standing up to show you the other items that I've made, and I do have things on my desk to the left, to the right, sorry, so I'm knocking things over because of the size of my snippet roll. Now, when I created my tags for the challenge, I made myself a little template, and I will be keeping this template in the box with the tags just in case I need it as a reference, but I've kept it out to show you, and I wanted to cut some tags out of this snippet roll at that size as well, so I can actually show you how I did that. Now, I am going to trim the very edges of this, and it's possibly not necessary, but I'm going to do it anyway. Just straightening up that edge. And I was pretty happy with the way my tags turned out. They're quite uniform. I was worried that I would finish cutting them and they would end up all different shapes and sizes and not look anything alike when they were together, which would be very different to a lot of the purchased tags that a lot of people are using for the challenge. So I was really excited that they came out quite uniform the way they did. So okay, so for the width I want to go 2.5 inches, and because I've trimmed this part straight, I'm going to use this it's catching on things, it's not playing the game. I'm going to use this line here as a guide to get a relatively straight edge. I need to scooch this over a bit. I think the paper's offering some resistance. So I'm going to trim this. So I'm just looking to make sure I'm relatively straight on that line. And cutting that at 2.5, and I'll do a couple more, I think, at 2.5. But I have a funny feeling I got the measurements for my tags from watching Rachel from Roxy Creations make hers. I really didn't know what size I wanted the tags or needed the tags, and I did actually make another template using the sizing that Anne Brooks said her tags were. And when I compared the two, that hasn't cut through properly. When I compared the two, the one that Anne Brooks was using, I found to be really, really small. I was surprised at how small it was I don't know where that other template So I have that here. I believe this is the size that Anne Brooks's tags were. So if I show you the comparison, that is the difference. It's almost twice the size. Well, visually it looks almost twice the size. So not quite, but you get the drift. So I decided to go with the bigger one simply because I thought it would give me more room to play. I also knew that I wanted to leave a little bit of a border around the outside of each of my pieces because I've collaged the tags, and I love neutrals and I love the way the tags have turned out and the way the papers look. I didn't want to completely cover those, so another reason I went with the slightly larger tag. So okay, so I need to cut these at 4 3/4. So what I did was I set this against my straight edge at the top now, and I trimmed off the very top of the tag to give that a nice straight even edge, and then I turned it around and I cut it at 4 3/4. And again at 4 3/4, and it was almost exactly half, except for this tiny little piece that I've taken off. So I was really excited about that. That was totally unplanned and it worked a treat, so that made me really happy. If I didn't want to straighten the edges, I could almost cut it just in half and, you know, they would be okay. But to end up with my tags all looking quite uniform, that really hit the mark for me. So apparently I can't talk and craft at the same time. I totally lost what I was doing for a moment there. Okay, so one more set. I need to trim the top. And you can see I'm really not taking a lot off the top. I really just wanted to tidy that edge up. Okay, so they are my tags. Now I do want some larger tags. I haven't really thought about how big I want them. I also want some pockets. So where's my book page? So I'm thinking I'd like some larger tags and also some pockets. I haven't really thought about how big I'd like to make them. So I'm thinking 5 by 3. Maybe 5 by 2, no, 5 by 3 I think for the pockets. So I'm going to go 5. Oops, it just doesn't want to sit straight, does it? Okay, he's hoping this is good. And I might do one more set. I'm catching on something on my desk. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to shift it up slightly and you may not be able to see the measurements, but I will try and let you know as I go, just until it stops being so difficult. So 2 at 5, and I might do a couple at 3. Or 3. Now I need to do these first. I had meant to have a I think about what sizes I wanted to make things before I started videoing, and I forgot. So cutting this at 3. And I think that's a really fun pocket size. Okay. What size do I have here? I think that's about 3 3/4 roughly. About 3 5/8, I think. I'm just wondering if that, I need to tidy that edge just ever so slightly. Thinking that might be a really fun size for a journaling card. That works for me. Okay, so same process. I'm going to do 2 at 3. And just tidy the edge on that, and that can be a journaling card. I love that I'm really not getting any waste doing this, so I love that. Okay, so I think that was at 5, did I say? I did, so I want another set like that, I think. Trim the edge, and then, whoops, don't know where that came from, 2 at 3. Didn't quite cut through. I do find this paper trimmer is so much better than the other Fiskars trimmer that I have, but oops. But it does work better if it's on a flat surface, and because I have this sitting on top of my craft mat, it doesn't get the same amount of pressure all the way across as potentially it should or needs to work properly. And I sometimes forget that when I'm using it. Oops, I need to trim that edge. Okay, and I'm thinking about a couple of belly bands or tall bookmarks. So thinking about 2 inches for those. Let me see. I might do a couple at 2 and a couple at 2.5 perhaps. So 2. I'm already thinking to myself about the fact that I'm going to have to make some more of these neutral coloured backgrounds, which is fine. I can do those off camera rather than bore you all with the process over and over again, but I really, really love them. They are really hitting the mark for me on so many levels. Okay, so 2.5 is quite a large or wide belly band. but I really love that. And I think they'll make really fun narrow belly bands or bookmark tags. Okay, and I'm going to leave this piece for now, and I'll just work with these. So I need to trim these at 8.5. I'm thinking. I will check because it's been a little while. No, at 8. I'm going to say 8 1/8. So at 8 1/8. Fabulous. And why not turn this into a tiny tag? Little 1.5 inches. Super cute. Okay, so again, just trimming the top. And 8 1/8. And then my tiny tag. I just like saying tiny tags, I think. Super fun. Have one more. Oh, I've gone a little bit bigger with that one. I did wonder if I had it right. It slipped. I should have checked. Actually, I might take it from the bottom. Okay, now I need to measure and make sure I've got it right. Not too bad. Okay, so this is an extra tiny tag. That's okay. That's what I get for doing it on camera. How tall are these? About 9 3/4 roughly. So if I cut that at 4 3/4, I'm thinking about making these bookmarks, but I think that's too small. So about there. Say 6.5. Oops, and I need to trim my edge first. And another smaller one, so I'll do these at the same, whoops. So 6, what did I say? Now I've lost my train of thought. 6.5. Yep. I find the way the light hits the ruler on this paper trimmer, it makes it really difficult to see sometimes. Could be the angle that I'm sitting to because of the camera. Oops, don't know where that, oh there it is. So tiny I can barely pick it up. So 6.5. And then just trimming up that edge. Okay. So bookmarks, belly bands. I have these tags. I have pockets, some journaling cards, and 2 lots of smaller tags, all from the one snippet roll. That is amazing. That is a lot of pieces of ephemera. Okay, so I am going to use my template, and with the others I cut them 2 at a time. And I just used my template, which made the process so much easier. I do need to make sure they're up the right way. Not that it matters, I know, but I can't help myself. I must admit, when I was making these snippet rolls, I did turn some of my papers to the side, which is really unlike me. I am trying to embrace my word for this year, which is imperfection, and for me that is an imperfection, having it facing in the opposite or a different direction to up and down. So I was quietly kind of patting myself on the back for doing that. I was so proud of myself. Okay, so I'm thinking I'm going to make those journaling cards, and I'm going to make these tags, just tiny tags. Oops, so tiny I can barely hold it while I'm cutting. So again, I can use that one as my guide. Okay, so that's all of my cutting done now. What do I want to play with first? Okay, I don't know, I'm so excited and I'm so overwhelmed with ideas. Let's set these aside. My belly bands. So one of the things I have to play with are these images from, it's actually from the backing paper that I used, or sorry, some of the papers that I used for my collage backgrounds, and it's the music paper. So if you can see this music paper here, better indication here, or whoops, or here. I believe it was the vintage, version 1 of the music paper. I do have a flip through of all of the kits that I've used to make these neutral coloured book page snippet rolls, so I will link that in the description below, as well as the video where I created the first one. And they had these beautiful images which I've kept, and so they're not going to fit my bookmark, but they will fit my belly band. Now I'm looking for my ruler. I put it away. Who would have thought? Okay, so I just need to get a rough idea of how much I need to tear off. So I'm just trying to even this up. Probably would have been easier to tear it the other way, but never mind. Okay, so I'm going to ink, and I know that we're not going to see the back, and I have collaged the backs as well as the front, so that's a little bit sad that we won't be seeing that part of the snippet roll, but I knew when I was making them that that was potentially going to happen. Now these are just on paper because I have torn it from my collage papers. Okay. I love it already. Okay, so I have an idea. I'm just getting my fabric basket. Oh, that's almost the perfect size. Look at that. There. And I just want to fray that edge a little. I've got my fan on again today, and so just trying to get the threads off my fingers, and they're swaying. They wouldn't shift. I was thinking about adding an extra layer under that, but I don't think I'm going to, because that way I can see some of that really yummy neutral background. Okay, so I'm going to add some fabric glue. I'm hoping my fabric glue is okay. I haven't been in my craft room for so, well, I've been in my craft room. I haven't been crafting for so long that I'm hoping everything will be still in working order, including me. Well, it's moving, so that's a good sign. So I'm not putting a whole heap down because I'm planning on sewing this. This white fabric is just torn off a sheet, so okay. And I am going to go fairly close to the edges. I'm just wanting to make sure it's stuck down well. Because it's paper, it doesn't have the same firmness as a photo paper or a cardstock. So I just want to make sure it's attached reasonably well so that it doesn't tear, is my main aim. Okay, now do I want some sort of, whoops, it's not really adding a whole lot for me. Kind of feel like I like it like that. What I'm thinking is I'd like a butterfly. Okay, so here I have some fussy cut butterflies from JunkWithSteph. It's the Fussy Cut Vibrant Butterflies kit. And I don't want a big butterfly. This is where the neutral backgrounds become really fun for me, because adding colour over the top of a neutral background really makes the colours pop. Just like, do I want a third? I think that's really pretty. I do love that. I need to ink my butterflies. I just love the way the neutrals make the colours pop, and that's why I enjoy neutrals so much. Makes me happy. I've been so excited to do some of these. Okay, and I think I will use my art glitter glue when I remember where I put it. Oh, I had a feeling that was going to happen. My little pin, it doesn't love me. It keeps falling apart. So to get my pin out, now that the head has come off, I just use my little jewelry pliers. As you can see, it's happened before quite a few times. And then I do find it easier to pop the pin head back on now. If I can, before I remove it. And here's hoping this works. Oh, our art glitter glue hasn't let me down either. Not sure about my wobbly hands using it, but It's really interesting. I'm trying to stick more to my style. So this is very much my style. Towards the end of last year at some stage, I kind of felt like I'd lost myself a little bit in what I was creating. I don't know why. I cannot tell you. And I don't know whether it has to do with I'm playing with neutrals, which is so me, and whether it has to do with my recent fabric dyeing. I felt like that really hit the mark for me as far as my style was concerned, and as well as the fabrics that I shared with you all recently that I got from my local buy swaps, my local marketplace. All of those things have kind of gelled into helping me think about the direction I want to take my crafting. And I should have put that the other way around, never mind. But I'm so excited about the whole prospect of creating again, and this just feels so much like me. So I'm going to sew. I'm thinking around here. I'm okay with sewing through the little butterflies. I think that'll be really beautiful. Love that. And so on a book page, I just love the simplicity of it. It's beautiful. It's busy in its own way, and yet there's a subtleness about it that is really calming, and that is where my style lies. That's the happy place I like to be in. So okay, do I want to do another one similar? I feel like I should or could. Oh, I need to put my lid on my glue. Now I've buried my ruler again. So I'm thinking, okay, I have a plan. Okay, so what I want to do, the kits that I shared with you in my last video, I want to have a little play with. So let me see what I have. Okay, so this is Joyful Jaunt. And I want something, this is where I really get to play with some colour. So again, Joyful Jaunt from JunkWithSteph. I'm really just looking at what the backgrounds are like. I'm not necessarily looking at any focal points on them. I'm kind of looking for something. I think these are all lined. Oh, except that one. Oh, that's kind of fun. I was just going to say I'm looking for something a little more vibrant, and then I see this and I'm like, yep, that's it. So Joyful Jaunt, I really love the green tones of that paper. Okay, so just taking away my white edges. So I'm going to tear this Okay. And all of a sudden I have this beautiful neutral background with this little colour pop. Oops, I know what I want to do. I want to shift that across. Isn't it funny? So a straight edge and I suddenly go, it has to go across the far edge, but it wasn't working for me. But that is okay. Oops, I don't know why I turned that upside down instead of the book, but I did that. My fan is distracting me. I'm sorry. I'm all over the place because I'm not used to having the fan on in here when I'm crafting, and I'm finding it a real distraction, and my little pieces of paper are wanting to do this. They're sort of flapping around talking to me. I'm just not used to it. Okay, so going to pop. I rest my case. Oh dear. Okay. Oh, please come away. I really should have got a fresh glue book page, I think. Whoops, there we go. And I do want something lacy across there, I think, but I don't think that is doing it for me. Okay, so I have my little lace box here. I'm so excited about this. It makes me so happy looking at it. And I'm thinking just... Oh, my pin's stuck. There we go. Just a tiny piece of lace across the bottom there. This lace is quite stretchy. Okay. Bring that back. Couldn't love this system anymore. I just need to get used to using it. Okay, I'm just going to see if I can stretch that out a little bit. I cut it a bit short. That's not too bad. Oops. And just adding some glue to the bottom. And again, I will sew around this So my glue wants to come out, but it's kind of struggling. Wondering if I have a little blockage there. So pretty. So again, another little belly band. Oh, I think that's beautiful. I love it. Okay, so again, I'll be stitching around that one. Now, I do want to have a play with one of these pockets. And I have here some fussy cut flowers from, I'm just looking for the name of this kit. I've been cutting like crazy. So they're called Fussy Flowers from JunkWithSteph. And I've done some in a couple of different sizes, but there's one in particular that was kind of calling out to me for a pocket, if I can find it. I thought I did. This is the big set. Maybe I didn't do the big set. Maybe I did the next size down. So when I printed these, I printed them full size, and then which were these ones. So they're full size, and I did, these ones are 2 to a page, and I also did them 4 to a page. And this little lily here on that neutral background was just crying out to me when I was fussy cutting it to be a pocket. Okay. I really love that. I think I'm going to lock that in. Actually, I thought I might want to put something underneath it, but I think I'm going to put that down as is. So I'm just using my glue stick. All of my little fussy cut images today, well, actually no, I tell a story. So this fussy cut image is on matte photo paper. The other two were on copy paper, which I think I shared with you already. Which is why this one is that little bit more vibrant, being on the matte photo paper. Really makes the colours pop more. And I need some paper towel. I don't know if you can hear in camera, but there was just a burst of thunder outside. We must be expecting more storms. We've had some very unusual summer storms this year. Unusual as in we've had summer storms because it's been so long since we've experienced rain through the summer months. It's lovely, but it's just so unusual. Okay, and then, so I'm just reaching to my fussy cutting box. Sorry, I'll show you. So this is my little fussy cutting box that I was working on last night and yesterday. So I have these words here from Junk with Steph, and they're called Words by Steph. How funny. And oh, I just spotted that one. Discover. Really love that. And so I'm wondering if I want a little piece of something. That could be fun. Oops. When you go to pick something up and it just doesn't want to come. No, I don't think I like that there. But I was thinking about maybe a piece of lace across the top and maybe some cheesecloth under there. Okay. Okay, so I'm thinking just a little piece of white cheesecloth just to make that pop against that neutral background. I can find the end. Here we go. Oh, it's still doubled over. I'm not happy with that. The shape was wrong, sorry. I need to trim off. Oh my gosh, that fan makes it really challenging. Don't want it that way. I do, but it's way too big. Okay, I'm going to lock that in just with the glitter glue. And I need to ink. And I think I will use my fabric glue to put the label on. If I can get the pin off my finger. Oh my goodness. Talk about a bumbling video. And I think I want a bit of lace. I find that it wasn't quite soft enough for me. I think that lace will just finish that off nicely. So I'm going to lift that. Yes. That was my problem. That was way too perfect. Okay. Okay, so that is our last pocket for this video. I really love the way that pops on that page. So fun. Okay, so we didn't get a whole lot finished today, but I really love what we've made. I am going to sew around each one, and I will probably just use a cream cotton to do that. And I will show you all of them together. I think they're beautiful. I really do. And we have lots more here, so I'm thinking my next video will just be a continuation from this video, which I'm super excited to have more of a play with my neutral background. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I've really enjoyed having a play with this idea because it's been at me as an idea for quite some time. So it's super fun to see things start to come together the way I was thinking. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'm sorry that we didn't get as much done as I'd hoped to, but I really hope that you join me next time because I'm looking forward to continuing. I look forward to seeing you all soon, everybody. Please stay safe, stay inspired, and happy crafting. Bye for now.